Okay, let's dive into this. Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. If you're a focused learner trying to wrap your head around complex enterprise tech without getting bogged down, well, you are exactly where you need to be. Industry data tells us that a massive chunk of cloud migrations get severely delayed or just completely fail, literally because of database issues. Today, we're unpacking some really fascinating insights straight from the Anasup consulting channel. We're going to look at exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how to fix it. We're talking about streamlining cloud transitions, specifically focusing on handling those tricky databases. I was so curious to dig into this source material because, let's face it, if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by the sheer scale of moving to the cloud, or maybe you just put it off because the whole process seems way too daunting, these insights break down the mechanics in a genuinely accessible way.
So looking at these insights from Anasup Consulting, the ultimate high-stakes question pops up right out of the gate. How do you actually move massive amounts of data without interrupting your business? That is the core dilemma for practically every IT department out there, isn't it? When you make that big strategic call to migrate your apps and your databases to the cloud, you're essentially swapping out the very foundation of your digital infrastructure. But here's the kicker. Your business doesn't stop. Your customers still need 24/7 access, your daily operations still gotta run, and that data, it never stops flowing. Trying to pull off a massive data migration while keeping all those plates spinning is incredibly tough. Honestly, that risk of business interruption is the primary factor keeping IT leaders hesitant about modernization.
So we really need to understand exactly what makes this whole process so notoriously difficult to manage. Basically, there are three primary legacy hurdles you have to clear. Let's break them down. First up, obviously, is moving large amounts of data. And we aren't just talking about dragging and dropping a few folders. We are talking about massive, enterprise-scale data loads that have to travel securely and completely to an entirely new cloud environment. Second, converting old schemas. If you're deep in the weeds of databases, you know a schema is essentially the rigid blueprint of how your legacy data is organized. You have to translate that blueprint so it actually makes sense in a modern cloud structure. And third, you're converting old code. Your apps have been talking to those legacy databases in a specific, entrenched language for years, sometimes decades. When you move, that tangled web of spaghetti code usually has to be completely unwound and rewritten. These are some serious hurdles, and trying to handle them manually, yeah, that's a fast track to business disruption. But here's where the insights point to a really elegant architectural solution: Database Migration Service, or DMS from Google Cloud. Instead of relying on a fragile, makeshift patchwork of custom scripts, third-party workarounds, and manual processes that are just begging for human error, DMS is engineered to securely bridge the pathway between your old legacy environment and your new cloud destination. It was super fascinating to learn that it's specifically built to take that incredibly risky, bottlenecked process and turn it into a streamlined, predictable operation. It protects your business continuity by making these daunting, complex cloud migrations simple, fast, and reliable. And this brilliantly illustrates something absolutely crucial: total adaptability to your specific strategy. Because not every migration is exactly the same, right? Your tools need to reflect that reality. Sometimes your strategy is super straightforward. You are just migrating. You just need to pack your bags and move your existing setup into the cloud exactly as it is, safely and securely. Well, DMS handles that perfectly, providing highly accurate data migration so you literally don't lose a single byte of critical information. But what if you aren't just moving? What if you're actively modernizing apps? You want to execute advanced upgrades while you move your data. The really cool thing is, this service is totally adaptable to that path too. It provides the advanced features you need to not just relocate your data, but to fundamentally upgrade how your applications interact with it in that fresh, modern cloud environment.
Now, let's dive a little deeper into that modernization piece, because this is where the mechanics get really cool. Remember earlier when we talked about converting old schemas and old code being one of the biggest, most painful bottlenecks? Well, what I found truly fascinating in this source material is how this tool tackles that exact problem. It leverages a pretty advanced capability: AI-based conversion. It's a total game changer. Instead of forcing a massive team of engineers to manually comb through thousands of lines of outdated database logic just to make it compatible with the cloud, the AI jumps in. It maps and translates your old schemas and legacy code automatically during the modernization process. It literally takes what used to be the most tedious, error-prone part of a migration and accelerates it dramatically. Seeing this specific application of AI designed purely to save time and strip away risk was quite an eye-opener.
So, the insights from Anasup Consulting don't just leave you hanging with the theory of cloud migration. They actually offer a direct, practical starting point. If you're looking to explore the mechanics of this further, the channel provided an educational resource right at goo.glee/go-dms. That's where you can see Google Cloud's database migration service in action, poke around those AI-based conversion tools we just talked about, and start mapping out your own Streamline's transition. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Are your current highly complex legacy systems actively stalling your company's ability to innovate and grow? If the sheer fear of business interruption is the only thing keeping you anchored to outdated infrastructure, well, it just might be time to let a tool like DMS do the heavy lifting for you. Thanks for joining me for this Explainer Focus Learners. I highly encourage you to check out that resource and envision what a truly seamless cloud transition could look like for your own organization.